Hey, Purpose Chasers, the Wisdom Wednesday sale is here. If you've been waiting for the right moment to make 2025 your best year, this is it. For a limited time only, you can register for the 2025 Pillar Planning Retreat at an exclusive price. This live 4-hour virtual training will give you the tools to perfect and protect your vision. I will be there with you to help you set intentional goals and create an actionable plan for your authentic success. But here's the catch, the sale ends soon. You only have until Sunday to lock in your spot and secure this incredible discount. So don't wait. Successful people are planners, and now is your time to take action. We do not wait for resolutions around here. We go for results. So join me live for this hands-on experience, and let's start 2025 with clarity, purpose, and conviction. Let's put those pillars to work. Register now before the sale ends. Go to patricewashington.com/pillar retreat. That's patricewashington.com/pillar retreat. Now that you know some things about yourself, you're going to have to own it. And to own it means that you're willing to start taking action in spite of the accusations. I'm Patrice Washington, and this is the Redefining Wealth podcast, where authenticity leads to alignment and abundance. Join us each week as we peel back the layers on what wealth truly means and dive into conversations that inspire, connect, and empower you to live your richest life. Get ready to challenge the status quo. It's time to redefine wealth for yourself. You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington. This is the space that you come to each and every week to learn more about what it means to chase purpose, not money. Now, what you should know about this community is that we believe that wealth is so much more than just money and material possessions. We believe in the original 12th century definition of wealth, which says it's about the condition of well-being. And so for 7 years now, I've been talking about what I call the 6 pillars of wealth. And these are the parts of your life that impact your finances, even when you are not thinking about it. And let me tell you one part of life that I truly believe has impacted my ability to produce wealth. It is the faith pillar. It's about believing in something greater. And for years now, I've been saying the thing about the faith pillar is, for me, I really don't care what you say you believe in. And I know that some people get all uptight about that, but I realized that I was called here to welcome everyone, no matter what their belief system is, to welcome you. That is what it means to be in a like-hearted community that is rooted in love, encouragement, and support. And so that's what the Redefining Wealth community is. And we have people who believe all types of things, right? But here's what it comes down to for me. If you say you believe something, do you make time to practice it? The reason that it's so important that you make time to get rooted and grounded in whatever it is you say you believe is because at any given time, you could be challenged or questioned. Your intentions could be questioned. Your heart posture could be questioned. And you need to know what you believe for yourself. At any time, you can walk into spaces where people are immediately annoyed by your anointing and feel threatened and start to attack you unwarranted. And if you are not rooted in your why you truly believe you're here and whose you are, who you believe holds you, and what gives you hope and inspiration, you will be tossed to and fro every time someone says something to you or about you that you may know deep in your heart is not true. And if you are not familiar with the 6 pillars of wealth, I want to invite you to go to patricewashington.com/start here and take the Redefining Wealth quiz so you can figure out which one of these pillars might be where you need to start. But if you are someone who's like, you know what, in this season, I feel a little shaky in my spirituality, in my faith, then I want you to know that you're in the right place, because this conversation is going to be a blessing to you. Today, I'm talking about the distinction between destruction versus deconstruction, because I realize if you made it here to this podcast, you probably are in a season of evolution. there are probably so many things in your life in this very moment that you are questioning, you may be frustrated by, you may be taking inventory and trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. You may be moving differently, speaking differently. And so people are kind of like, well, who do you think you are? What's going on with that? Well, if that's the case, I feel you, because as I have evolved over these last few years, I had a team member say to me, God said, you are on the path of destruction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get into it. Let's get into the affirmation of the week, and then I'll be back with the story. This week's affirmation is, deconstruction is a part of my growth. I affirm that deconstruction is a vital part of my healing journey, not a punishment from God, but a necessary step towards growth and renewal. I trust that the dismantling of old patterns, beliefs, and situations is making space for something greater to emerge. In this meticulous process, I may experience some hurt, but ultimately, I find strength, clarity, and a deeper connection to my true self. I embrace breaking down as divine preparation for building up a more aligned and abundant life. With faith, I release fear and trust that every piece that falls away is part of God's perfect plan for my healing and transformation. Declare with me today, deconstruction is a part of our growth. Okay, so earlier this year, I had a team member who had been with me for some time get on a huddle. That's what Slack uses. Get on a huddle. So it's kind of like a video call, and proceed to share with me in the middle of the workday that she got a download that I was on the path to destruction, and that she had known so for the last year, which I found interesting, first of all, because I just believe if God gave me a word for someone, then I would be the type of person who might give them a little warning, as I have done many times before. Whenever God drops something in my spirit, if I just feel compelled to share with someone, I always lead with, I don't know if this means anything to you. I just want to be obedient and share it. But nevertheless, she made a choice to share that over a year later. And I'm so grateful. While it did immediately sever the business relationship, I'm so grateful that it happened. One thing that you should know about me, I don't get upset when life happens to me, because I understand that I'm just one of those people that God can trust to extract a lesson. I'm just one of those people. I think it's a part of my calling. It's a part of why I exist in the world, is to be able to really just glean and get understanding from when things like this happen, and distill it down in a way that could be a blessing to others. And when it first happened, I was annoyed, I was disturbed, I was hurt, because something that people will use is the very thing that you hang your hat on when they want to prove a point. And it was so interesting, because what she said was that God said that I was in a season of chasing money, which is so interesting, because I announced to my entire team at the beginning of 2023, and I've done podcast episodes about it, that I felt led to not do any of the programming that we did for years that would create over 7 figures in revenue. Out of obedience, I literally stopped doing those programs and had to sit on my hands and say, God, what do you want me to do? And from that, Pillar Mastery was born. From that, Soul Detox was born. From that, we finally did the Redefining Wealth Live experience last year and this year. So many things came out of me saying no to that, especially in a season as someone who was newly divorced and still untangling like all of the, assets and all of those things. It would have behooved me to actually do all the programs that we would normally do, but I didn't feel called. So I didn't. And I was very clear about that with my team, that I felt like I was operating in obedience. And looking back, I am clear that I was definitely operating from obedience, because so many beautiful things were able to be birthed in that season and are still coming to fruition. But this conversation, first of all, was kind of a rock because I had already felt the pebble several months before and I didn't honor it. And we've talked about this over and over again. The pebble, the rock, the boulder. Many of us are so committed to trying to give people the benefit of the doubt or extend someone's season in our life or, all the things that we create. Next week, I'll be doing an episode about some phrases I'm leaving behind in 2024 that support self-sabotage. But I had already seen signs. So it was like my spirit had already been prepared. But when it happened, it was still a little jarring. And for the first few weeks after it happened, when I would pray about it, I'm like, God, you have to reveal more of that to me. You have to reveal more. And it was finally through prayer and meditation, maybe a month or so after it happened, where I was just praying, I was meditating, and I got this download that I've since shared at Redefining Wealth Live with several one-on-one clients, Mastery and Momentum. And that is, I felt the Holy Spirit say, I was never trying to destroy you. I had to shed some things so I could deploy you. There was never an intention to destroy you. There were some things that had to be shed in order to deploy you. And to the untrained eye, when you are navigating so much, others may look at you and say, oh, that's destruction. And the Holy Spirit said, look up the difference between destruction and deconstruction, because you are not on a path of destruction. But to the untrained eye, and to maybe sometimes someone who's, and I'm not saying this about that person, I'm using this in general, to people who are maybe a little spiritually immature at times in some ways, they confuse deconstruction with destruction. Destruction is the act of causing extensive damage to something, which renders it unusable or in ruins. So when we say things like you are headed for destruction, what you're saying is you believe that my gift, my talent, my life will be unusable by the kingdom. What you're implying is basically complete and violent end of my existence or my platform or my life as I know it. You believe that there'll just be extreme chaos and loss to the extent that God could not still use me. Wow. But I want to be clear. There's a difference between destruction and deconstruction, because they can look similar to the untrained eye. But here's deconstruction, a meticulous process of breaking down a concept or a system to examine its underlying assumptions and components. This method seeks to understand and analyze rather than merely obliterate. So it often leads to reconstruction or transformation. What you may be experiencing in this season is deconstruction. If you are a purpose chaser, if you've been in this community, if you're in the Institute for Redefining Wealth and you're learning these authentic alignment tools and you're starting to get away from default thinking and tap into authentic alignment where you start to ask yourself better questions, guess what happens? As you ask yourself better questions and you get better answers, you start making different moves. You start shedding, pruning, releasing thoughts, beliefs, possessions, people, processes that no longer serve you in this season. And to the untrained eye, as you are shedding all those things, as you are shifting, as you are changing, as you are morphing, all they see is, oh my gosh, what are you doing? This is crazy. But guess what? The process of alignment will always look awkward to people who don't value it or prioritize it. When you are doing the work to get fully and truly aligned with your most authentic self, there are things that you have been known for. There are things that you have always done, always said, people you've always been united with, you've always been connected to, and you find yourself in a place where that is intolerable. It doesn't feel good anymore. You can't sweep it under the rug. You can't act like you haven't seen what you've seen or done what you've done or know what you know. You're not dealing with people anymore based on what you hope. You are dealing with them strictly based on what you know. You are starting to move differently. Your voice is starting to get a little bass in it. You're starting to speak with more power and less trembling. You're starting to navigate your one and only life as if God sent you, and you are not here to cower and to play with people. And folks get scared and they feel threatened and they feel uncomfortable because they're not yet ready to be radically honest and rise to that level of power. And so now you look like you're on the path to destruction. I just came here today to share with a few folks that you may not be at all in a season of destruction. And just because other people don't understand your process, don't allow anyone else to tell you that God is punishing you, because how you are living your life, how you are liberating yourself, how you are speaking up, how you are navigating this new terrain is wrong or evil or bad. I'm here to tell you that perhaps God is not punishing you at all. He's literally taking you through a meticulous process of breaking down what does not belong in your life, in this season of your life, because what may have served you in one season cannot go with you into the next. And after getting this download, it reminded me of Job. You remember the book of Job? Job was a prosperous man. He was a righteous man. And still, he ended up facing immense suffering. He lost his health. He lost his wealth. He lost his family. And do you remember when his own friends started to accuse him of wrongdoing? They suggested that he was being destroyed, that he was on a path of destruction. He was being punished by God. And even throughout his trials, he said he would not curse God. And he experienced what I believe was a deconstruction. He had a new understanding, a new revelation of faith, of righteousness. He had been stripped down to the core, where all he was left with was his belief. All he could be left with was his hope in God. All he could be left with was trying to find deeper understanding. He even says, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." When you get to this place of deconstruction, and it is so hard, and you are carrying such immense grief, but then there's also this immense sense of gratitude because you know that God is doing something powerful in your life, even when you can't put your finger on it. No one said it was going to be easy, and no one promised anyone else that what God was going to do with you would look pretty. So the audacity. No matter where you are in this season, whether you're experiencing the excitement of new beginnings or you're frustrated and feeling stuck in old labels and titles that don't serve you anymore, or you know exactly what you want to do, but you're uncertain of how to be received or perceived, and it makes you confused about what to do next. No matter what, your vision is still alive and your purpose is still calling. If you've got something on your heart that just won't let go, it is time to stop putting it off. So I want to invite you to Mastery and Momentum. This is the space where high-level performers just like you can finally align with their deepest, most authentic desires. It's time to stop waiting and step into the life you've been dreaming of. And you can do this with the right coaching, curriculum, and community. You'll receive the tools that you need to create real, tangible, transformative results. You are not hearing this by accident. You are ready for your next level and your soul is calling. So your time is now. Your vision is not void, my friend, and your purpose is not postponed. Let's bring this next level, next dimension of your gifts, your talents, your purpose to life together. Join me for Mastery and Momentum, serious applicants only at masteryandmomentum.com. Let's start taking your impact to the next level. You were born for more, you have more, and it's time to go get it. I want to connect this to this continuum, which God also revealed to me last year, 2023, when I was not doing all the things. See, this is the beauty of that obedience. When I wasn't doing all the thing, God started taking me through my journals, through my notes, through these different downloads that I have been getting for years. And he started connecting the dots for me. And I'm so grateful because every time I move forward with something, he also reveals how it follows the same continuum. So I've been talking about this continuum for redefining wealth, that we are not able to redefine wealth if we don't first have an awakening. And in this awakening season that you may be experiencing right now, this is the beginning of your deconstruction. This is your opportunity to identify all the areas in your life where you might feel like you're being destroyed. Like maybe someone told you that God is punishing you. Maybe it's through your relationships, it's through your health, it's through a career setback, some type of other personal or professional struggle. I want to submit to you that if you are frustrated and now taking inventory of your life, you get to choose if you're going to start responding at the pebble, at the rock, or if you're going to keep waiting until boulders. This scenario this year with this young lady was one of my final reminders that I'm not going to keep waiting for the boulder. I've had too many instances in my life where I have known in my spirit that a season was up, whether that was with a person, a city, a possession, a job opportunity, anything where I knew that the season was up, but I wanted someone else to end it so I wouldn't have to take responsibility. Or I wanted to be nice. I just posted on my social media recently, I've dropped that. I'm not really here to be nice. I'm a kind person. I'm a fair person. I am always willing to operate from the utmost integrity, but that doesn't mean that you can step all over me. And I'm definitely in my when people show you who they are, believe them era. I'm definitely in my when a circumstance feels chaotic from the beginning or misaligned, deal with that up front. So my question to you is, what if we could start moving at the pebble? What if this process of deconstruction really only came to get your attention? Now, there's some things that are already at the boulder, and that's your invitation to just make some choices and do something different. But there's some things that are at the rock, at the pebble. And as someone said at Redefining Wealth Live, she said, I'm trying to start recognizing things when they're at the sand level. I said, oh, sand? A grain of sand? Yeah. Because if we are really harnessing this faith pillar, we have the ability to catch some things at the sand level. If we are really spending time in prayer and meditation in whatever sacred text you subscribe to, in journaling and nature, whatever it is you do, you're going to start noticing some things at the sand level. That's where we're trying to get to. The process of deconstruction that you're in now is to prepare you and equip you so you don't have to get to destruction. You don't have to get to a place of all things just being destroyed. You can start to make changes sooner, quicker, faster. So this stage of awakening is all about exploring your feelings, your experiences, your relationships, interrogating them, and allowing yourself to confront those uncomfortable truths so you can make new choices. This is about recognizing unhealthy patterns, because a lot of the things that we are experiencing as pebbles and rocks and boulders, those were paradigms and patterns that have been going on for years and years and years. They are not new. The idea that the boulder caught you by surprise is wild, because 9 times out of 10, you were not caught by surprise. And the deconstruction is here so you can stop acting like you've been caught by surprise and empower yourself to start to give God something to bless and do something different. The second part of the continuum is redefining. And in the Institute for Redefining Wealth, this is where we are going all in this year. Listen, if you have not checked it out yet, I really want to invite you to come in a bit closer and get around some people that can help you shift your language. Because what I know to be true is you can't redefine wealth for yourself. You can't set new goals if you are still using old language, unsupportive language, asking bad questions, sitting in spaces that are very low vibrational. And what we use to get off of default thinking are what I call the authentic alignment tools. And these are questions that are worded to expand what you believe is possible for your next step instead of contracting. The reason that we don't use radical honesty in the awakening phase is because then we have to ask ourselves better questions and go do something. So it's better to just turn, a blind eye, sweep things under the rug and do nothing. But when we're using these authentic alignment tools in the Institute for Redefining Wealth, we are trying to encourage the use of deeper reflection. We're using questions that help us distinguish between what is genuinely destructive and what is a part of a necessary deconstruction process in our life. The thing is, when you start to acknowledge what doesn't work, you have to also be able to give voice to what you really want. And that means you're going to have to start being around other people who use the language you desire. That means you're going to start speaking differently, which means you're going to start acting differently, which means you're now on the path to being able to get the results you actually want. Now, in that whole process, though, the reason that people will think you are destroying your life is because you're just going to start to move different. And you're going to start hearing the things, and you probably hear it already. Oh, you changed. One of my clients, Tiffany, in Mastery and Momentum, she was on the panel, a client reflection panel at Redefining Wealth Live. And she said that when people said, oh, you changed, she said, thank you. Thank you so much for noticing. I love it. Oh, you changed. I should, especially if you've known me for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You would want me to change because that means that I'm actually growing. If I haven't changed, that's problematic. It's interesting how change becomes the problem. You might start to hear, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Why would you mess up a perfectly good insert what someone else considers to be perfectly good? Why would you mess up a perfectly good government job? Because it is soul sucking and I'm tired. Why would you mess up a perfectly good marriage? Because it's actually not perfectly good. It's just perfectly curated for social media consumption. Why would you mess up a perfectly good home? Because it's draining the hell out of me. And I desire to do something different with this one and only life that I get. Why would you? Because y'all like to applaud longevity no matter the toxicity that someone is experiencing. That's why. Because if it was that good, we wouldn't be leaving. If it was that aligned, this would not be a conversation. The process of deconstruction is meticulously looking at each part of your life, use the 6 pillars of wealth, and going, does this still serve me? Do I feel good? Does this feel aligned for what I now am feeling called to do? That ignited, aligned vision, the dream on my heart, the thing that I'm being called and compelled to do. Does this still serve that? Remember, the 6 pillars of wealth were only created to protect the vision. That's why they're here. So if you have a vision and something is going on in those pillars that are undermining the vision, you have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. And it doesn't matter if it looks good, sounds good, smells good, moves good to other people. This is about you and your one and only life. And the idea that you asking better questions of yourself means that God is punishing you, to me, says that y'all don't know the same God, because in order to be in relationship, you have to be able to ask and answer questions. In order to be in relationship, I'm in the best relationship of my life right now. And I can ask my partner anything at any time. He can ask me anything at any time because the depth of our questions only deepens our intimacy. It only deepens our friendship. It only deepens our connection. That's the same with God. If I'm in the process of deconstruction and I'm like, God, why this? What's going on here? Does this still fit? Do you want me to be in this place? Is this the way that I should be doing this thing? Is this what you want me anchored to in this season of my life? Is there something that I'm seeing here that is connected to something else I've experienced before? You can't have a deep connection and relationship with someone that you won't talk to and ask questions of. And if you are somewhere where you're being taught that it is impolite to ask questions of who you believe or deem your creator to be, the faith pillar is about believing in something greater, but it is about defining your faith for yourself. Hey, podcast family, big news. I've just launched a game-changing app designed exclusively for you. It is officially the Redefining Wealth app with Patrice Washington. Now, all of my courses, coaching, live streams, and most importantly, my community are just a tap away, all under one roof. You can download the app now for seamless access to exclusive content and a vibrant community of purpose chasers from all over the world. This is the ultimate hub for all things Patrice Washington and all things redefining wealth. You can search for it in your app store or find the link at redefiningwealth.app. That's redefiningwealth.app. Do not miss out. Your journey to redefining wealth just got a whole lot easier. Download the app today and let's take this adventure of redefining wealth for ourselves to the next level together. Here's the last part of the framework. It's actualizing. And actualizing is about taking action. And with the authentic alignment tools, I have several questions to support you. But this is what I want to share with you. When you're in the process of deconstruction and you find that you are up against folks, friend, family, foe, that want to make you feel like who you are becoming is problematic, mostly because who you're becoming doesn't align with who they want you to be, how they want you to behave, the pedestal that they may have put you on, the title or the label they may have given you. And now your true authentic self is starting to emerge and you're exploring and you're questioning and all this stuff. Here's what I want you to know about the actualizing phase. Once you are interrogating your life with the authentic alignment tools, now we need to move into the ability to keep moving forward despite what anyone else thinks. Because now that you know some things about yourself, you're going to have to own it. And to own it means that you're willing to start taking action in spite of the accusations. It means that you will take intentional steps despite their insinuations. It means that you will trust that God has you right where He wants you in this season of your life. It means that you believe that life is conspiring to bring you everything in that ignited, aligned vision. But you're going to have to be willing to do the work of looking through everything meticulously and being okay with losing the parts that don't align. No one said that this journey would be easy or pleasant. God didn't promise that to Job, certainly didn't promise that to us. But you get to decide if you're going to let people condemn you, give you all their stuff. Because usually I find that when people are so judgmental and have so much to say, it really is a reflection on how they treat themselves. I realize that we have been taught, and I was taught the same thing, to have such a fear of God as opposed to a reverence for God. Fear does not allow you to have genuine relationship with someone. My daughter has a reverence for me. She is not afraid of me. And because she's not afraid of me, we can have genuine conversation. We can have deep connection. We can have deep intimacy. This is why a 17-year-old girl walks around telling other people that her mom is her best friend, and not in like a creepy way, not in like a we don't give each other our space way, but in I have a deep reverence for my mom so that even when my mom has to tell me something I don't like, I can receive it and I can respect it because we have a relationship. We don't have a dictatorship. We don't have something that she needs to be afraid of. So when you find yourself in these seasons, when you find yourself in these places, remember that what might look like to others like you're being destroyed is ultimately it's a setup for your deployment. I am so grateful that over these last now almost 2 years, because of obedience, because of not doing the things that God literally instructed me not to do, I did suffer. It was uncomfortable. It was inconvenient. But what has been birthed is so beautiful that if God said, do it again, I would do it again. I can embrace now that anytime these seasons come, the God that I have a relationship with is not trying to destroy me. He said he has plans to prosper me and to do a good work through me. God's not trying to destroy me. He's preparing me for deployment. And whether that is to go forth and do something new and bold and elevated in my personal life or spiritual life or professional life, it's going to differ depending on the season. But as I say at the beginning of every year on this podcast, in social media, for me, for a birthday, I don't know what this year holds. I don't know what this decade holds, but I do know who holds me. And the God that holds me will comfort me and keep me through my process of deconstruction, no matter what destruction other people think they are witnessing. Just because you see my discomfort, you will never see me curse God. And you will never be able to weaponize faith or religion, Christianity, whatever you want to call it, to make me feel like God can have no use for me because I'm so destroyed. That don't even sound Christian, but go off. So that's what I came here to say today. And I pray that it blesses you. And if it does, drop a comment on YouTube or social media in the Redefining Wealth app. I would love to hear from you. And I will say something that came to me recently was to do a whole series around these types of distinctions. I believe that being able to create powerful distinctions is like a true hallmark of thought leadership. Sometimes I'm so shocked when I find things, out in the world or read a book because I didn't necessarily get it from these places. It literally comes to me through deep prayer, meditation, just sitting. Sometimes I sit for hours and just sit and talk to God and ask questions. And these types of reflections and revelations come. And the distinctions piece, really something I'm going to be doing heavily in Mastery and Momentum. If you are a successful woman who is in a season of pivoting, you're transitioning, you're looking to do something different in your life, and you already know that, like Job, you have friends and family that are going to start saying things like, oh my God, what are you doing? Why would you do such a thing? Why would you disrupt something so beautiful? But you are feeling it. You're at the pebble. You're in the sand. You're just like, I know that I know that I know. I would love to be your guide. I would love to be your thought partner. I would love to be your coach in this season. I only have 6 spaces left for Mastering Momentum 2025. And there's just been something even in me that is like, I don't have to force or push. The people who resonate with this message and know that this is the season where they're going to be going to new heights, new levels. Things are going to look a little different, and they want to be around someone who can hold the line with and for them. Because what you've accomplished before was what was expected, but now you're about to go into a new dimension, and it's not going to look the same. It's not going to feel the same. It's not going to be the same. You have something that is getting off the ground, and you really want to lock arms with someone who can hold that space for you. There's not even a lot of people in this cohort of Mastery and Momentum. There's one-on-one calls. there's accountability, wisdom circles, because it's important for what God is about to do. Even if you don't fully know what it is, but you know that there's something and it's brewing and you want to operate from obedience and you feel called to my voice, then I want you to consider coming to Mastery Momentum. Go to masteryandmomentum.com and check it out. See if it feels aligned for you. And I would love to support you. We're going to stop taking applications on December 13th. So this is your chance to go ahead, fill out the application, serious inquiries only. And I really look forward to serving you. I feel something powerful brewing. And I feel, this may be petty, but I'm going to say it. I feel like ultimately God has the last say, but also the last laugh. People can say what they want. They can think what they want. But the reason that I'm so rooted in the faith pillar is because I've been here many times before. And as long as I know and you know our hearts, our motivations, our intentions, what we really do with people looking or not looking, what our practices are, what our processes are, that's all that matters. Ultimately, that's what matters. So I hope this encourages you. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving at the time this drops in the US. I pray you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Share this with some family and friends that can stomach it. And I'll see you next week. Until then, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. I'll talk to you later.